up?
What's up?
Nice to be back, man.
Yeah, it is nice to be back. We haven't done this for quite a while.
I kind of missed you.
I miss you too, Hank. Always. I miss you every day.
Passionate. It yearns in my loins.
Yeah, always, man. Always.
Yeah, but I know tough times never last.
Yeah.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back. Just had to take a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
But,
Everyone missed us.
yeah.
All our fans, all around the world.
All
We
two
know.
of them. Well, two
Two.
messages.
It's you.
And you.
Oh, that's hectic.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hey, guys.
the South African bush owls.
Bush owls.
That is all it does.
But today, we're chatting about something a little bit more on the serious side.
Yes, sir.
But we're happy to chat about it.
Yeah.
I think we both feel like this is definitely something that needs to be spoken about.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people are going to get mad at us.
I don't think so.
I also don't think so. You guys will be fine.
That's a bad way to start.
That is a bad way to start.
No.
The point is, we're going to be saying some things that some people might not want to hear.
Yeah.
That no one really wants to hear at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't
But
think-
it's difficult to think that you're stuck in something like that. But I think once you take a step back, you start realizing
Then-
what an effect it has on your life.
And yeah, I think we're all going through this. I know. Yeah, we are definitely.
Yeah,
It
sure.
affects everyone, I think.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, you don't want to admit it, and that is the tough thing. And sometimes you need people, not us, to say, hey, like what's happening?
Yeah.
Like what's going on?
Yeah.
Like why are you doing this to yourself?
Yes. But before we keep on just chatting about it, let's just break it down a little bit. So
Yes, sir. I've got. Carry on. I'm just gonna.
other day we were just chilling, kind of trying to decide when our next podcast was going to be, what we were going to chat about, and I actually saw quite an interesting tweet. I sent it to you.
Oh yeah, must I read it?
Yeah, read it out loud.
Get that face ID.
So basically, I read this tweet and I was like, this is pretty real for the situation that we're sitting in. I mean, like, there are a lot of bad things happening in the world right now. Like, there's COVID, there's a lot of like racial issues, a lot of unrest, pretty much just in general.
Yeah.
But please read the,
Yeah.
read
So
the tweet.
I'm not gonna say her caption or her username, but basically this woman tweeted, "There's a lot of violence everywhere, and I'm becoming numb to it, mostly because I don't know how to cope with it, and I don't know how to change it."
Yes. Now that's big.
It's a
That
big
is
statement.
probably the biggest truthful truth someone has said in a very long time.
And yeah.
Now, the issue that we're sitting with, and I kind of realized this when I took a step back, was we're seeing all these bad things on social media.
Mhm.
It might not even be bad things. It's just we see a lot on social media. We sift through a lot of content every single day,
Yeah, hourly.
hourly.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the bad things, I feel like we see so much bad. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's good to see the bad things, to know that they're there.
Yes.
And like, I think it's good that people are still sharing like posts of things that are happening, because it keeps people informed, and that's a big part of it. But you get to a point where you see all these bad things and you feel like in your soul you feel terrible, even though it wasn't you who did it. But eventually, like, you kind of get to that point where you know you can't do anything, and you kind of just start moving on from these things as if they don't exist.
Just anymore. Yeah.
It literally takes a week, and then the entire human population has moved on from the problem that happened the previous week. And it's not just bad things, it's also good things. I mean, we see like a lot of, like you said when we spoke earlier, like fitness models and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you just start seeing all of those things to the point where it just seems like the new normal. And
Yeah.
you want to be like that, you don't know how to be like that, and yeah, it pretty much puts you in a bad mind space, and it has a terrible impact on your life.
Yeah. It's self-destructive.
Very self-destructive.
So, yeah, basically what Dando and I are talking about today is how, yeah, I don't even know what we'll talk about, but social media, news, as it says,
Yeah, news as
imagery.
well.
Yeah, like just think about films and cinema and so much, how it makes us so insensitive in the
Yes.
modern day.
Yes.
And it's become so normalized
That's a very good word.
Yeah.
Normalized.
to see violence and see mass protests and mass killings and gender-based violence and violence towards people of color and like everything that's going on, and it becomes so normalized, and then it becomes numb, as
Yeah.
you say. And like I'll agree with you, but also add something.
Yeah.
Bad news, it's always like such a shock, and like it's a shock factor.
Mm.
Oh, did you see this happened, or it's like the car crash, or there was a hijacking, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I say that a big or bad thing, the effects last way longer,
Yes.
because that's what people thrive on nowadays. Good news lasts for an instant, and then
Yeah.
people move on.
Yeah.
We don't celebrate the little things anymore. We don't celebrate the good things or make big deals out of it anymore. But we put so much emphasis on the bad, the bad, the bad.
Yeah.
And it takes a toll on you and your mindset and your body and literally your energy.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't the world just all of a sudden? I don't want to say all of a sudden, but it just feels all bad.
Yeah.
Humans seem inherently evil because that's the only side of people we see nowadays. And
Yeah, and
I'm still not saying that it's a bad thing to see these things,
no,
but
it's
at a point
reality.
where you realize that there's nothing you can do about it, because we sit in a situation where you feel bad and you would love to make a difference, but you're waiting for your neighbor and his neighbor and that guy's neighbor to stand with you.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's mindsets have gotten to the point where everyone realizes that everything is bad and there's nothing they can do about it. So, on a very rare occasion, do people actually stand together and
For a
combat
common
an
goal,
issue?
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, and that's
and it feels like that's probably the biggest thing that's stopping us from progressing. It's not the fact that you've got a job that you got to go to and like you can't miss this and you need money to do this, and like money doesn't solve all problems, but the biggest thing is you just need to get people to stand together, and that's the only way we can tackle these issues. And no one wants to do that anymore.
And like that's so true, and like that's such an issue. No one wants to stand together because everyone is so self-absorbed and so like centered on progressing you,
Yeah,
not progressing us.
yeah, progressing the world.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
that plays in so large with, let's say, social media. Nowadays, your image is everything.
Yes.
You can't do anything or get anywhere or achieve anything if you don't have an image.
Yeah.
And that is so sad.
It is.
Your
it is very
your
sad.
actions, like
Should be speaking
Yeah,
louder
it doesn't-
than
your actions don't define what you are
Yeah.
anymore. It's how many followers you have. It's how you look. It's if you're an influencer, and then you get these influencers who, and that's a big issue I've seen on social media, when people take TikToks of them giving food to homeless people.
Yeah.
Why do you have to record
Yeah.
yourself
Why do you
doing
have
that?
to record yourself?
And people are so self-centered, and I'm gonna improve my image,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna improve myself.
Yeah. You think you're improving
Improving
society, but you're making it worse. Because everyone's become very vain about the things that they do, even charitable things. Like it's all of a sudden it's become this like I have to show everyone that I'm a charitable person.
It's a trend.
Yeah, and also it's come to a point where people see you and they're like, this guy isn't posting anything about him being charitable.
He's not.
He's a
charitable.
bad person.
Yeah.
Because his image says that he's a bad person. But you don't know who that guy is. Like when he
Exactly.
puts his phone away, if he puts his, or she puts his phone away.
Like just before we continue,
Yes.
like obviously people listening, like we can talk about this for hours. Like Lando and I we are definitely not innocent in anything
No.
we're talking about today. Like,
I think the reason why we're talking about
it
this today
frustrates us.
is because we've seen the issues in our own lives.
Nice.
Probably not even all of them. And like,
I think today, for us, like, you might say something that's gonna make me go home and think about it and say, shit, I do that, and
Yeah.
like, I never realized that, and
yeah.
like, hopefully, yeah, I just get people to think about what is going on and how insensitive or desensitized we are to
Yeah.
everything that's out there.
Just before we started, we like kind of just listed off some of the things
Yeah.
that the sort of platforms, and the one was that you said was the news.
Mm.
How do you feel about the news? Like, what is your standpoint on how the information gets delivered to you? Because I have something very interesting that I would like to say on this.
We did speak about it in a previous episode about, I just think the way news companies are run, like, regardless of what they put out, but the way they are structured and the way they are run in the first place is very biased and very superficial.
Yeah.
Because it's such a conspiracy. But the
That's
people,
what we're about.
people who ultimately fund the news, like SABC, the South African Broadcasting
Yeah.
Commission,
Yeah.
who funds them? The government.
Yeah.
So they will never publish something detrimental to the government because that's their funders.
Yeah.
It's the same with Fox News in America, who's backed by the Republicans, and Sky and whatever backed by the liberals. Like,
Yeah.
they will never like be self-destructive,
Yeah.
and that's the first issue. The second issue I have with the news is, no, it's not an issue I have. Like, the South Africa, everything that's on the news, if you turn on SABC or like CNN Africa or whatever,
Yeah.
it's death and murder and rape and famine and corruption.
Yeah.
Everything that faces everyone every day, and we are privileged to not be in such darks. There are people who are way worse off than us,
Yes.
but we've become so desensitized. We just say, oh, another killing today. Oh, 3 people were murdered. Oh, that's how it goes in South
Yeah,
Africa.
because it becomes a statistic.
It's the norm.
Yeah. I mean, there are like 56 people who get murdered in this country
A day.
every day
That we know of.
that we know of, that gets recorded.
And I think we were the highest, we're the second highest in the world.
Yeah,
in
and I
murder
mean,
rate.
what stops us from standing together and just be like, that's enough, you know? Like, enough with the statistics.
Mm,
First of all, they're bad.
yeah.
The statistics are bad. They need to become better, but they also need to not just be numbers, you know?
Yeah.
But anyways, back to the news thing.
Yeah.
So it was funny enough that you brought that up because I didn't really even think about it until you said it. But we had something bad happen to us recently. I'm not
Yeah.
really going to explain what it is, and
You can find it on the news.
you can find it on the news. And I'm also not going to say which channel, which paper covered it. But basically something very bad happened, and it was still in the process of happening.
Yeah.
Right? The police were still busy, like, it was
Everything.
still happening, right?
Yeah. And bam, it was out
And
there.
bam, it was in the news.
Yeah.
It hasn't even concluded yet, and now you've gone and written a piece, and you're like, a short piece, and you're like, okay, the rest of the piece will be in tomorrow's
Yeah.
paper.
It's like a taster.
Yes, and like, that happening to me personally now, it kind of makes me wonder, everything you read in the news has become, for them, such a, like, rat race in just giving people breaking news, because that's all people want is what is happening right now. And no one really stops to think, like, is that what happened? Like, how does this guy know?
And it's just so. I don't.
And like, this is your main source of information, like, that's going on around you, and you believe everything you read. And like, why shouldn't you? Because it's the news.
It's the news, and they should
The
it should
news
be
is supposed
reliable
to, yes,
enough.
it's supposed to be the most
But-
reliable source.
I don't know if you've seen, this is a bit off topic. And I don't want to interrupt you. Have you seen the movie called Nightcrawler?
No.
It's with, okay, anyway, it's like how when in America, when like the live footage of crime scenes.
Yeah.
Like there are people who rush to crime scenes before the police get there
Yeah.
and record what happened
Mm.
or what's going on or
Yeah.
blood or the bullet cases or the car crash, and then they sell it to news companies.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible, man.
That's
like
Yeah.
that's such an immoral thing
Thing
to
to
do.
do.
Someone like has possibly lost their life, or
And you're
they're
recording
in
it
the
and
process
selling it.
of it, and you're just taking advantage of that for your own gain.
But that's what happened now with
And
this
like
incident.
everyone else just eats it up, man.
Yeah.
You just read it, you know, like, okay,
And then
that's
it's
that's big. I'm gonna go make my breakfast.
Yeah, apparently, did you hear? Apparently this happened. We don't know the details, but apparently
Yeah.
this.
The good old apparently.
And then you called me and you explained the story to me. And then that night when I got home, like my parents and other people that I spoke to, like, you must hear this story. Like, you know, every story gets like a tale, and
Yeah,
the tale goes longer
yeah,
and longer and
yeah.
longer. I was like, bro, I heard it from Lando. This
Yeah.
this is what he told me. So
The human condition, man.
it's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's like, I don't know if you have anything else to say on
No,
the news.
no, I'm done with the news.
But yeah, coming back to movies, I actually read it. What I wanted to read to you.
Mm.
So because I'm the king of Reddit. So it was so interesting. I was on Reddit when you sent me the message like, what's gonna be our topic or theme.
Yeah.
So basically, this post it's an unpopular opinion, but it says movies develop fake fantasies and expectations that hurt us when you get to know the real world is nothing like in the movies.
Mm.
And then it's like a whole thing about how romance movies and action movies and dramas and whatever,
Yeah.
every genre creates a sense of fake reality
Yeah. Yeah.
that-
Definitely.
that we watch and say, I can do that, or
Yeah.
I can do that, or
Yeah.
and
I believe if you watch enough like fantasy, you'll start morphing it into your reality.
yeah,
Because you're like, that's possible. I can do that.
yeah,
But it might not be the best thing. And it's a lot of things like that. It's a lot of fantasy that takes over your life. Like we spoke about pornography as well.
yeah.
I mean, gender-based violence, such a massive problem in our country.
It's
And-
insane,
Would you agree with me that that's probably the starting point?
bro. I think pornography exacerbates a lot of not just sexual relations, but like emotional and mental
Yes,
relationships
yeah.
between all sexes. If you're heterosexual or bisexual or whatever, either way, it creates a sense of fake reality.
Yeah.
You think, oh, how you watch porn and you say, oh, that's how they do it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna do.
And it's become acceptable as well. Like
yeah.
it's normal to watch pornography in today's society.
Yeah.
That's how everyone views it, and it's terrible.
Bro, just these like broadcasts of people seeing broadcasts of naked people, and it's like it's so normalized.
Yeah.
And that is like, I just thought about it. The base level of that is that growing up, sex and porn and all these taboos are seen as taboos.
Yeah.
When you're at school, they say, don't talk about sex, don't say sex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, don't talk about porn.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue. You need to tell little kids or explain
Yeah.
to them about sex and show them, but like
Yeah.
tell them this is what it is, and don't make it such a big deal.
Yeah.
Because
Before it gets
leads
explained in a way that it's not really supposed to be.
and it leads to these pornography addiction, which is, I'm pretty sure every second person has a porn addiction.
Yeah.
Everyone has watched porn. Like
Mm.
it's crazy, man.
It is crazy.
And it affects many relationships. I know a few relationships that say, like, it has ruined
Yeah.
us. Or men who've said that I went into a relationship thinking, like, this is how my sexuality will be and my sexual experiences will be.
Yeah.
And when it's crazy story. This is so. I read an article. This was on the news. It was on like BBC News, whatever. A guy, an 18-year-old boy,
Yeah.
he beats his girlfriend, he assaulted her, like physically beat her up
Yeah.
because when they had sex and she was aroused, he thought that like she was supposed to lactate, like that she was supposed to, and you know,
okay.
and that is a fetish, and like you can find that online and porn, whatever.
Yeah.
And when she didn't lactate,
He assaulted her.
he was so offended,
That he assaulted.
and he assaulted her.
See, that's the exact thing about it becoming like a normalized thing, and you think that's what it should be like, but it's the furthest thing away.
so
It's the
messed up.
exact opposite, and it's just become normalized.
Normalized, and it's made us so insensitive.
Yes,
Yo, it's
and
hectic,
you look
man.
at these things like it's nothing.
Yeah,
All of the things on social media, the things on news. I mean, it's very easy to make a deal about something as soon as it happens.
yeah,
You can share posts, you can do whatever you want, but then at the end of the day, like you shared this thing, and what else?
yeah.
Like, did you really make a difference, or did you just sit idly by and watch, and forget about it?
Yeah,
Like, think about all the things that's happened in the last few months.
no, just
Do you think you could name them all?
no,
Like all the massive like events that have happened?
because you forget about them.
Because you forget about
because you're like,
It's just another thing,
yeah, and
and everyone's
it's
just
so-
waiting for the next thing.
it's so warped,
Yeah.
and we have to make bigger deals, especially of the big issues, gender-based violence, and like Black Lives Matter and all this stuff. We need to make bigger deals out of it, but everyone's just like, it's gonna happen again. Oh, don't worry, something will come up
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
Because we're so desensitized. It's crazy. Just as also another random thing. My mind is racing. Talking about movies, you're talking about how movies create false hope and like fantasy.
Yeah.
You know Avatar?
Yes.
Yeah. the tree hug. But
No.
yeah. So after Avatar came out, I can't even remember what year. And it like changed the game.
Yeah.
Highest grossing movie. James Cameron slandered. Everyone was like, they want to go to Pandora
Yeah.
and become an avatar.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know how many? I could actually Google it. There is like over 20 people committed suicide because our world is not like Pandora. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah,
man.
I also, and that was just, it bothered me, and it's still something that I think about because how bad did they have to want to get out of our world, their situation? What were they going through to say that I've had enough of this world?
Yeah.
But now, looking at this year alone, everything that's happening, and this tweet
Yeah.
that this lady said that she's so numb and she doesn't know how to cope with it.
Yeah.
And then that's when people resort to suicide and depression, and because what else can you do?
That's a big one.
Crazy, man.
You got any other points?
Bro, I just and it's so tough, and you spoke about it earlier. We need to, the issue is how can that's what we think, and that's what I think and have thought for so long. I say, how can me as Henu, one brother in Mpumalanga,
Yeah.
make a difference?
Yeah.
Me posting something on my story, like, is that going to make a difference? Sure,
Yeah.
I think some of it has big valid credit. You're showing your mass support.
Yeah.
But if you're not actively, if you're just if people are tagging you in things like, if you don't repost this, you hate white people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big thing as well. Like, you're made to seem like a bad person if you do not partake in things such as sharing posts. Like, why has it come to this?
Yeah.
Why is sharing something become the action that everyone must do to make a difference?
And yeah, I'm all for sharing something, showing
Yes.
your support.
Yeah.
But if you're not showing your support and actually, it's supposed to be a call to action.
Yeah.
Are you calling your friends and saying, are you okay? Are you finding out how you can help. Are you making a difference even in your small sphere, in your friend group?
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have to change the world.
What's that? I think it's a line from a movie. I cannot tell you what movie it is.
Is it from Batman?
Or probably. The line is, act locally, think globally.
Bro, we need to have a global mindset.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
I think the biggest issue that people sit with is the issues are so far away and there's nothing more you could do than send money.
Yeah.
But the thing that you got to realize is that's not the only problem. Like, it's a big problem
Yeah.
wherever it is, and you're not there right now, and you can be eventually. But just look around you first. Take a step back. Look around
Yeah,
you.
it's that helicopter view, bro.
Yeah.
Just have a look.
Literally go outside onto your street. There's most likely a problem that you could fix.
Yeah.
It takes a phone call, or it takes
Yeah.
getting 10 people together and just fixing it.
Yeah. You don't need money.
You don't
to make
need
it-
money, and you also shouldn't fixate on the bigger problems.
Problem.
Start on the smaller problems.
Yeah.
Because the more smaller problems we fix,
It has a ripple effect.
yes, it has a ripple effect.
Exactly.
And eventually we'll get to those big problems.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help that everyone's sitting around and everyone wants to get involved in the big problems, but no one can get there. No one has the resources to do that.
Mm.
So that's probably my biggest advice.
Yeah, there was something I wanted to say, but I completely forgot now. But we just need to mobilize yourself, and mobilize yourself in your family, or in your friend group, or community, or help one person.
Yeah.
Just start by doing that.
Yeah.
And like, I hope you and I will also take like what we're talking about today and also say, okay, like,
Yeah.
how are we gonna do this, and
Yeah.
how are we gonna start? And
That's the plan.
that's the plan,
That is the plan.
bro.
So I think pretty much I don't really want to call it a lesson because this isn't really a class, but the biggest thing that I would like anyone and for us to take away from this is just put everything down and just take a step back.
Yeah.
Just take a look at your life. Take a look at how your life has been slightly affected by things on social media that you haven't really noticed. Things on social media, things on the news, things that you do on the internet. Like, take a step back. Take a step back and think about what your life would be like if you had to handle any situation differently to what you handle it now.
Yeah.
And not just think about it, do it.
I remembered what I wanted to say, and it's a good link to yours.
Yeah.
Because I study acting, and basically what my whole degree is like awareness.
Yeah.
And how do you feel? And often in modern day times we place the mind over the body.
Yeah.
But with everything that's happening in the world, all this numbness, and we don't know how to cope, and like your body stores all the trauma, all the stress, all the
My mic's
yeah, don't stress. But your body stores all of that,
Yeah.
and you think, I'm so tight, and I'm so like I've got spasms, and like I'm not feeling well, or that, like your situation or what you're going through affects that.
Yeah.
And like it's so good to just take a step back, as you say, and say, this is how I feel. Forget about like what I can do. Take a step back and say, okay, Henu, I don't feel good. Clearly something that's happening in the world is affecting me. Just that awareness is the first step. Just be aware of the issue. There is an issue.
Yeah.
And then from there you say, what's causing the issue? How can I stop the issue? How can I help others with this issue? Yeah, you should listen to yourself. Listen to your body. Listen to what you feel.
That's a big thing.
And that
That's a big thing.
awareness.
Yeah.
And then act upon it.
I like that. Listen to your body, listen to your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it, dude. That's beautiful.
Away, Lando.
Away.
Dude,
I think that was a very good chat. Guys, if you got anything interesting out of this, please let us know.
yeah, send us an
Yeah,
email.
please send us an email. What's it?
Niceguyssemantics@gmail.com.
Just the usual. Also hit us up on Instagram at niceguyssemantics. We're gonna try and be a little bit more active.
Beef
We
it
say
up.
that every time, but this time we'll try.
Also, it's so nice that we're speaking about this topic because
Yeah.
it's something that we've like from the first episode.
Yeah.
Is we support, guys. Please check them out. The Saartjie Baartman Center for Women and Children in Cape Town.
Yeah.
Go check out their website. Give them a call.
Yeah.
They have a Twitter page. They have an Insta page.
Yeah, you can donate, you can volunteer, you can share, just do whatever you can.
We're talking about people making a difference.